This is Nikki Kotero with breaking news on IBP Media. The trial for former officers in Floyd case delayed until next year. According to an article noted in the Associated Press, the trial for the 3 former Minneapolis police officers charged with aiding and abetting in the death of George Floyd was to face trial on August 23rd, but now will be pushed back to March 2022. Judge Peter Cowhill said this decision was made in part to allow the publicity over Derek Chauvin's conviction to cool off. The officer's co-defendant, Chauvin, was convicted in April of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter. He is to be sentenced on June 25th and could face up to 30 years in prison. All 4 officers also face federal charges for violating Floyd's civil rights during his arrest. Judge Peter Cowhill said he also moved the other officers' trial so the federal case can go forward first. Even though no date has been set for the federal case, Cowhill said it carries higher potential penalties. Although federal civil rights violations can carry the possibility of death penalty, experts say that won't happen. Chauvin could face a life sentence if convicted on the federal charges. According to a former federal prosecutor, the delay in trial could mean that the former officers are talking about a plea deal, hoping that they will be offered lower penalties in the federal case and a dismissal of the state charges. Okay, let's take a second to really dissect this article that I just read. First and foremost, we don't need no expert to tell us that more than likely Derek Chauvin will not receive the death penalty if he is found guilty when it comes to the federal charges of him violating George Floyd's civil rights. We know that already. At the end of the day, this is still America, and we ain't made that much progress. That's just what that is. Second of all, when it comes to Judge Cowhill pushing back the 3 officers' trial to March 2022, honestly, I don't feel like publicity on the situation is going to necessarily die down. Yeah, it won't be talked about in everyday news and everyday media, but because this situation with George Floyd, this went viral. And viral to the point where, worldwide type of viral. Viral to the point where we're having protests across the globe. Not just here in America, but across the globe. The whole planet. Earth. With an F. So you can't really tell me that we're just gonna, prolong it for a year so that publicity over Derek Chauvin being convicted can cool off a little bit and then pick up where we left off. Honestly, that's what's gonna happen with the emotions, because it's that intense. This situation, this story is that intense. Everybody saw that video. So what's going to happen when that trial picks back up is those emotions from the trial, the same emotions that people felt too when Derek Chauvin was convicted, they're going to pick back up where they left off. That's just how I feel, personally. So for him to say that, I'm just kind of like, whatever. And honestly, I also have another opinion where you kind of can't tell me that Judge Cowhill and at least one of these 4 officers have never crossed paths when it comes to working. He's a Minneapolis judge. They are police officers in Minneapolis. How many times do police officers come to court to give testimony on certain cases in trials? So it's really hard for me to believe that he's never crossed paths with at least one of them. At least one. Now, when it comes to pushing it back so that the federal charges can come forward first, that makes more sense to me. So we could have left out the publicity down part and just went straight for, let's allow the federal charges to come first with the 4 officers and then pick back up on the state level. there was noted that there's a possibility those officers are trying to work out a plea deal so that the state charges or the state case is dropped or dismissed, and they receive, lower penalties on the federal charges for violating George Floyd's civil rights. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to IBP Media, Breaking News with Nikki Kotero. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And comment below. Let us know what you think.